This episode is brought to you by LifeLock. Not everyone is careful with your personal information, which might explain why there's a victim of identity theft every 5 seconds in the US. Fortunately, there's LifeLock. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second for threats to your identity. If your identity is stolen, a US-based restoration specialist will fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year by visiting lifelock.com/podcast. Terms apply.
This podcast is supported by Progressive, a leader in RV insurance. RVs are for sharing adventures with family, friends, and even your pets. So if you bring your cats and dogs along for the ride, you'll want Progressive RV insurance. They protect your cats and dogs like family by offering up to $1,000 in optional coverage for vet bills in case of an RV accident, making it a great companion for the responsible pet owner who loves to travel. See Progressive's other benefits and more when you quote RV insurance at Progressive.com today. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Pet injuries and additional coverage and subject to policy terms.
And now, a special edition of the Toddcast podcast.
Powered by Citywide Mortgage Services, providing complete financing and mortgage services for residential and small commercial businesses. Visit them at citywidemortgage.ca.
Now, here's your host, Todd Hancock.
Have you ever thought about what happens at the edge of life and death? Because I can tell you, time slows down. It is the weirdest thing. Your senses become heightened. You almost go into survival mode. Your brain activity shifts. I've had a few brushes with death over the years. I was almost run over by a train in grade 3, grade 4, running across a train trestle, which was over the Kitimat River up in northern BC. My shoe got stuck between the tracks and I'm trying to get out. The train is rounding the corner about a half click down the line and honk, honk. You could hear the train's whistle blowing as if to say, like, kid, get off the tracks. I remember my brother yelling to me to jump, but it was the jump into, like, where? Into the raging rapids below, or make it to the other side and try to jump out of the way, which is what I did. I felt the rush of the train help me, throw me into prickle bushes on the other side. Quite literally, I dicked around on the tracks for even like another 5 seconds longer. I wouldn't be here today. That, or I would have gone for a swim in a river that likely would have killed me anyway. Believe me, ask your circle of friends who has had a near-death story, and most of them will have something to tell you. And they'll tell you about moments of clarity and things that make you rethink life and death. Truly unforgettable moments and experiences. And this week, that's what it's all about. 9 guests will share their near-death stories. In sports, she traded wrenches for ring ropes. He is a thinking man's warrior, and he holds the line for your Vancouver Whitecaps. In entertainment, she is a Gen X influencer. He's survived more than just zombies, and he has pop culture's backstage pass. You'll hear from this week's musical guests in just a second. He's been DJing since literally the golden era. He's a Grammy award-winning bluesman, and she is all about Canadian R&B. My name is Todd Hancock. Appreciate you being there. Yet another Toddcast. Of course, made possible by the support of our amazing sponsors, like our title sponsor, Citywide Mortgage Services. Choosing the right mortgage broker can be sometimes overwhelming, but my good buddy Dara and his team make it super simple, clear, and stress-free. Their brokers work for you, not the banks. Get the best rate and terms that fit your unique financial situation. Let's be honest, everybody's different. I trusted Dara with my mortgage renewal back in January, and it was a slam dunk. A couple of phone calls, a couple conversations, signed some stuff, and that's it. I know that you've heard of these guys, and for good reason. Citywide Mortgage Services are elite in what they do in the Lower Mainland. It's widely known and recognized that they're one of the best in BC, likely Canada. They would never say that, but I can because I can toot their horn. Use my network to better yours. Talk to my friend Dara about home financing and let him dial it up for you through citywidemortgage.ca. Okay, so coming up in just a few minutes in Listen to This, Flat Black guitarist Jason Hook talks about getting Slipknot's Corey Taylor to do a guest vocals on a song called Nothing to Some. Very impressive stuff. That is powered by Tedco RV Supplies in Langley. RV service, repairs. Yes, they are ICBC accredited. 9-year sponsor. They have not taken a break in that time. Absolutely integral to what we do, given the luxury of time and to keep podcasts going out for you. So love Tamara and, of course, her team there. Wonderful people. You can find them kicking around online from time to time on Facebook and Twitter at Tedco RV Supplies. You know, the crazy thing is that death is all around you. It's just that we do a really good job of avoiding it. A bad car accident, high-speed collisions are not a good thing. Something that requires immediate medical attention, a heart attack. Hey, cut off your finger and see what happens. Natural disasters, we feel them here in Vancouver from time to time, but earthquakes could devastate the area. Floods, wildfires. Maybe you're like my wife and have a list of things that you're allergic to and run the risk of the anaphylactic shock. Suffocation is a real thing. Food, insect stings, certain medications, trees, grass, pitted fruit, doesn't matter what it is. So let's get to some musical guests and their near-death stories. As mentioned, you'll know DJ D-Wiz for a number of reasons. Music producer, music director of Grammy Award-winning Salt and Peppa. He DJs for Grammy Award-winning Arrested Development, Freedom Williams of CNC Music Factory, Doug E. Fresh, record producer, touring DJ, percussionist, entertainer, a monster in the game, and a super nice guy as well to boot. And his near-death story is crazy.
Man, so I remember one time I was with Salt and Pepper, I believe Denmark. You know, Todd, I've been so many places with the young ladies. I've been to countries that I never knew existed, bro. I'm dead serious. Countries that I've heard their name for the first time. I never knew what Rotterdam was.
Right.
I think the first time I heard Rotterdam is when I went there. You know, honestly, I mean, bro, we've been so many places really far up. I've been to Oslo, way up there, you know, and then
Norway.
I've been way up there, and also been way down Australia many times. Been on there 3 times with the ladies. And the thing is, I don't know if you know you've traveled really far outside of Canada, but
there. Yeah,
when you're pretty far, you could feel it. You could feel that I'm far away from home.
Yeah.
Like. I can remember looking up in the sky, being in Australia, being in New Zealand and stuff like that, and being like, whoa, D, you're far. And then when you realize you're far, you watch your step. With everything you do, everything you eat, everything you drink, everywhere you go, every decision you make, because you feel vulnerable, you know. So that being said, so to answer your story, Africa. Far away from home, out there with Salt and Pepper, Nigeria, Lagos. And when we went out there, we had armed security with us everywhere we went, 24/7, armed security with AK-47s on their back, multiple 4 or 5 guys that went with us everywhere we went, to the mall, wherever we went, they were with us. So one particular night, Peppa wanted to go to a club, and a friend of ours, well, one of the dancers, his name is Bam. We went to this club, and before even going to the club, unbeknownst to me, I didn't know that the head security that was with us had said, "Hey, this club's kind of dangerous." So we go to the club, and it was myself, some of the dancers, you know, of course, Peppa, who's a celebrity, and everyone knows that we're in the club. And I remember one of the dancers had wanted to go to the bathroom, and he got up on his own and went to the bathroom. And I remember the head of security guard, he said, "Where's Bam?" And they were like, "He went to the bathroom." Yo, Todd, he jets over to the bathroom, and he gets him, he brings him over to us, and he reprimands him. "You stay right here. I tell you, don't go anywhere. And when I say don't go anywhere, you don't go anywhere and do anything." So we're leaving the club eventually because it started getting packed, and our security started getting nervous. He was like, "Yo, I want to leave. I'm making a decision. We're leaving." So we're leaving the club. Now we're in Lagos. We're in Nigeria. And one one of the members that was with us had an expensive chain on, and I think he had diamonds on the chain as well. So we're walking out the club, and as we're walking out, our security was with us, but the car that we came there with, a Range Rover that we came there with, wasn't outside. So we have to wait outside now and wait for the car. You get it? We have people that have jury on.
Yeah.
We got security that's telling us, yo, don't even go to the bathroom by yourself. And we're not inside the club where there are other security. We're outside of the club where there's just the world, whatever.
Yeah.
So now it gets interesting. So we're waiting, and I remember a guy with a wheelchair coming up, and he was saying something in their native tongue. And I remember he pointed at one of us. He said, yo, we're going to get you. We're going to get you. We're going to get you. And the guy that he pointed out was the one that had the expensive chain on. And I'm like, fuck. Like, we're like, yo, you know.
It's getting real.
At this moment, it was like 5 of us and just a security guard that was with us. Now, of course, he's packing and has whatever. But, dude, I mean, you know, there's like, you know, the mob of people. Now, the guy that was in the wheelchair was the leader of these people. And we could tell he was the leader by the way he moved. I mean, Todd, you know, you could tell who's in charge.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we're like, oh, shit. And lo and behold, as they started coming closer and closer to us, here comes our Range Rover. And when I say he came, it seemed like he ran people over when he came to us. That's what it seemed like. And he could have hit some people. Now, I'm telling you, this is what happened when he was coming to us. I didn't say when we left yet. So we get in the car, and when we get in, I remember our head security guard, he started banging on top of the roof of the car, like making a loud noise, and he was saying something in their tongue, kind of like to spread the people that around us out, like, yo, spread out or whatever. He was like, boom, 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 and saying something in the tongue. So all of us like jumped into the SUV, and I know he hit people as he was driving away this time. And he didn't give a damn, bro. He was, oh yeah, man, yo, like, that's some scary shit, bro.
Or death shit.
Yeah. That was some scary shit. So yeah, like I said, I had to give you all of that up into it, bro. It was bananas out there, and you know, there are different sections of Africa that have different, you know, environments. You know, this particular place in Lagos is really, really, really rough. It's really rough, which is the capital of Africa. It was really rough. And most people suggest that tourists, when they come there, that they do have some sort of armed security available to them.
Right? Like, yikes. Our security started getting nervous. He was like, yo, I want to leave. I'm making the decision. We're leaving. I'll take you from a world-renowned DJ to a 3-time Grammy Award winner, Fantastic Negrito. He just released his new album, Son of a Broken Man, back in October of last year. Another giant in the game, having shared the stage with the greats. From Sturgill Simpson to Chris Cornell, Bruce Springsteen. He's collaborated with Sting, E40, and Tank and the Bangas. You've seen him on big festivals, Lollapalooza, Glastonbury, Newport Folk. He founded the Revolution Plantation, an urban farm aimed at youth education and empowerment. And damn straight, he has an out-of-hand near-death story.
That's really easy for me. Well, there's one that people really know about, and there's one that people don't. So I'm trying to think.
Well, hit us with the one you don't like. Maybe the Coles Notes are the one everybody knows, because I don't even know that, and I did a shit ton.
Okay, well, here we go. I'll tell you. I'll set this up good, easy. So I'm in LA. I'm on Interscope. So Jimmy Iovine gives me my first record deal. It all goes bad. I'm not happy. I can't get out of the record deal. I go to a party, a Persian Thanksgiving party. I know. And up in the Hollywood Hills, everybody's partying, doing their thing. And the guitar player I was with, I played with this guy, never made a record without him for 30 years. He goes, let's go. And I was like kind of pissed because I was having my warming up to this beautiful Persian woman, and I felt like there was some chemistry, and we were going to make some beautiful Black Persian love later.
Yes.
But this guitar player, he ruined all that. And I always remind him of that. And so I was like a little bit pissed. I'm like, all right, man. He's like, let's go hang out on the Strip. You know, that means let's go hang out and meet people. I was like, no, I'm good, man. I'm going home. But I just wanted to get rid of him. And I went and I started like, you know, I was a young guy back then. You'd meet a lot of girls. That's what we did.
Yeah.
So I went, hooked up, met this girl. And I was like, yes. Driving back to my place. I look over at her. She looked over at me. I'm still driving. Next thing I knew, I woke up. 3 weeks have passed. And I have a beard the size of Santa Claus, and my nails are very long. So yeah, I was in a car wreck, and I never saw it coming. I didn't even realize it happened. Flipped over all kinds of lanes of traffic, and yeah, I woke up 3 weeks later. So I thought, wow, I could have died. And I thought about that. I said, if I had died, that's a cool way to die, because I had no idea what happened.
Yeah.
So
just dead.
There's a near death. You didn't know that one. Now you know.
I didn't know that one. No.
Now you know
Crazy,
it.
man.
Well, you know what? There's too much. It's just, I can't even tell my story because of the volume.
What a story. The next thing I know, I wake up, 3 weeks have passed. I have the beard the size of Santa Claus. So we'll take you from fantastic Negrito to a rising Canadian R&B musician named Justine Tyrell. She's from Calgary, born and raised, has been nominated for Singer of the Year, Solo Artist of the Year, Media Personality of the Year. She was on Branded Magazine's Game Changers. She's the anthem singer for the Calgary Stampeders. And Justine's near-death story involves the West Edmonton Mall.
Like, where do I start? I hate that I have a few of these.
I know, right?
Oh, okay.
Funny, most people do. You're like, Rolodex, like I could tell them that story.
Right?
That story.
Yeah.
Most people do.
Okay, so I will go with no offense, West Edmonton Mall. Great place to go. However, if you go to the amusement park, just really be careful. So my parents took me there. We were on a ride called the Zipper. I don't know if you've ever been on that at the carnivals, where it's like,
oh, the one that goes up like around in circles, but it also
exactly, and the cages are spinning simultaneously. So there's a height check, and my height never got checked for it. And the girl was just like, yeah, go. So, okay, whatever, we get on. Not realizing that the value of the height check is whether or not the bar lines up to hold you into the ride.
Mm-hmm.
So the ride starts going. This girl's chatting it up to whoever forever. We're on this ride for ages, man, for ages. And I slip out from underneath the bar, and I'm like this, face, hands, plastered on the grid of the cage. My dad swoops me back, and he had to physically hold me in. I'm screaming and crying. My mom notices. Again, the lady running the ride is just chatting, just having a great old Saturday afternoon or whatever it was. And my mom ended up having to scream at her and tell her that I'm not strapped into this ride. And my dad, just for dear life, kept me pinned onto the thing. But that, had my dad not acted so quickly, I definitely feel like it could have swung open and maybe there'd be no me. I don't know.
Or you're with a kid your age.
Yes.
That couldn't have held you back.
That's the thing.
That's crazy.
And in hindsight, I'm like, I think my parents definitely gave a bit of an earful, but I'm like, if that happened nowadays and with social media and everything, that wouldn't fly.
Yeah.
But that was one where I for sure, I think I got off that ride and probably thanked the ancestors. That was some shit.
That's crazy.
Ooh, yeah.
The Toddcast podcast is powered by Milano Coffee, bringing you the finest espresso and coffee concepts in the world. Online at milanocoffee.ca.
Screaming
Now, listen to this on the Toddcast podcast.
Imagine you're in a famous rock band, multiple number one hit songs, sold out arena tours worldwide, and you make the heavy decision to walk away from it all. That's the Coles Notes story of Flat Black's guitarist, Jason Hook. He was once a driving force in Five Finger Death Punch, one of the biggest rock bands of the last decade, platinum records, chart-topping singles, packed arenas. So full respect to Jason for taking the leap and knowing that it was time for him to move on and following his heart. But even though Jason had his time with Five Finger, starting over isn't easy. Finding the right musicians and writing killer songs, creating arena-ready riffs, can lightning strike twice. Jason produced Flat Black's debut album at his home studio and at the Hideout studio in Vegas. The album itself, Dark Side of the Brain, is big. You could argue it's the rock album of 2024. Massive hooks, amazing vocals. There's 3 or 4 undeniable hits on that album. Jason even got Slipknot's Corey Taylor to sing on Nothing to Some, and more on that in a bit. It was cool to talk to Jason about building the band from the ground up, starting fresh, writing the music during COVID. He told stories from being a kid and playing guitar at 6 years old, his love of Kiss, growing up in Toronto, knows all the Canadian musicians that I know from my time at CFOX, Todd Kearns and Brent Fitz, Theory of a Deadman, Adam Gontier, 3 Days Grace, all of those beauties. So quickly, back to that collaboration with Slipknot's Corey Taylor. How did that come to be? Well, listen to this.
He offered to help. So back in 2020, when I was like lost and didn't know what was going to happen and didn't know what to do, didn't have anyone to help me, didn't have anyone to work with. It's amazing how many people, like as soon as you're not in the cool band, how many people are kind of like, you know, I don't know, you know?
Yeah, you probably know. It's interesting that you see the people that you didn't know were in your corner as well. Like I found that when I got let go from the afternoon show at the rock station here in Vancouver and just started up this podcast. I'm 10 years in now. But when I initially jumped ship from radio to go to podcasts, like I was like, oh, really? Fuck, that guy's not in my corner? That guy is in my corner? I had no idea.
Yeah.
It's probably got to be the same, right?
I expected some of that, but
yeah.
There was a little bit of reality check, like, okay, well, you know, I'm not that important now, but that's fine. It's how I feel about me here. That's all that matters. And so I've been up and down in this business a lot of times, and you just have to remember that that's just the way it is right now. So work your way back out of it, you know? But going back to Corey, I met him, like I was working with his producer in Los Angeles, just messing around with some music with Jay Rustin. And all of a sudden, Corey and I are texting back and forth. And he said, what's your plan? You know, what are you going to do? I said, well, I'm going to try to put a band together, make a record. And I said, but I don't have anyone and there's nobody I'm working with right now. I said, well, listen, send me everything you got and I'll help you. You know, I'll help you. So, I mean, what can I say? He's just a really cool dude.
Yeah, I've heard he's amazing. Like just
amazing. Just a really fantastic human being, and really helped me, not just with music, but my spirit. At that time, nobody wanted to touch me, and you know, I couldn't get anyone really to get on board with this idea. And here's this guy saying, "I'll help you, no problem." So it kind of made me like, fuck, okay, all right, cool. This is, now I feel juiced, you know, really lifted my spirit. And, you know, I'll be forever grateful for that, for him, you know?
Like a Slipknot. It's fucking Corey Taylor, man.
Lives 5 minutes down the street from me. And, yeah. And what can I say? Probably the most talented guy I've ever worked with. You know, he just shits out greatness. And I hope he sees that.
Listen to This on the Toddcast podcast is brought to you by Tedco RV Supplies in Langley, an ICBC-approved repair shop. Visit them on Facebook and Twitter at Tedco RV Supplies. And now, highlighting our next Blue Light Sessions, powered in part by Canadian Club Whiskey. Meet your new cold one. We serve Canadian Club and Ginger ready-to-drink cocktails at all of our live shows. Visit CanadianClub.com today.
Just a punishing song. Doom Room. The band is Southern Death Threat and a crusher for them. It's called Hard Time in Texas. Now, before I had kids, I had a band management company with Dave Brenner from Theory of a Dead Man. And those guys were on our roster, and they were poised at the time, maybe 12, 15 years back now, maybe more than that, actually. Those guys were poised to be the next band to break out of Vancouver. Before Joey Moy moved to Nashville, Joey used to produce for Nickelback, did Florida Georgia Line, did Morgan Wallen stuff. Joey would come to jam rehearsals and kind of get things ready to record and blow these guys up. And then I don't want to get into it, but shit went sideways with the band. It's the reason that Southern Death Threat as one of those bands that had two singers. But when things started to crumble, the band found another singer and kept their head down and kept grinding. In fact, we even got Chad Kruger of Nickelback to play a solo on one of their new singles from the new singer. Anyway, the original lineup is playing a show for the Toddcast in less than a month on Friday, May 23rd at the Blue Light Studio in beautiful East Vancouver. There are only 6 tickets left. Fear the Possessed and Lonely Funeral are also on the bill. And I'm hearing that Noise Therapy is jumping up to do a couple, 2-3 songs. If you want to make sure you get into it, be part of the night, hit up eventbrite.ca, Brite, eventbrite.ca. This night is going to get messy. It's Brendan, SDT's guitarist, 50th birthday. So wink, wink, nudge, nudge, you know. So played you a new song from Steve Bays called Women's Jeans, who, by the way, has said that he's also down to play a Toddcast show. I think that'll likely be in September, October of this year. He's just kind of dialing up a few things in his world. He's super, super busy, but I'll poke him probably in late June and try to coordinate some things, which would be, come on, Steve Bays playing a show would be very cool. Steve, of course, has been a huge part of the local scene here, beyond the bands that he's been in, like Hot Heat and Mounties and Fur Trade. He's produced some excellent stuff over the year. Love to do a show with him, shoot the shit about all that stuff. Steve's a great guy. Okay, so coming up shortly, and stop me if you've heard this before, former Much Music VJ and marketer Erica M. talks about interviewing Nirvana's Kurt Cobain. That is powered by the Home Dwell Group, lifelong friends of the podcast. One of their managing partners, Kyle, I've known since grade 6. Best man at his wedding, still hang out with him all the time. He's been to probably 70% of all of my shows over the years at Blue Light, the Roxy, the Railway. Just a solid guy. If you're buying a home, you're selling your house, trust Kyle. He's worked in architecture for decades as well. So he'll know if the place that you're buying is worth buying, first off, how much it'll probably cost to upgrade things that you need to upgrade. Homedwell.ca is the website. It's a big step. Kyle knows exactly what he's doing. Homedwell.ca. First, back to more guest highlights in this Near Death Stories podcast and some sporting guest visits powered for the last time, or at least for now, by Sacred Meds. This is their latest 6-month sponsorship drawing to a close at the end of the month. Love these guys. They've sponsored 5 or 6 times over the years. Without a doubt, Canada's best online dispensary for cannabis, psilocybin, psychedelics. Shop now through sacredmeds.co. Weed, mushrooms, edibles, vapes, DMTs, oils, dabs, CBD, and a whole bunch more. Sacredmeds.co. Of course, a big thanks to Chris and his team for all the support over the years. So you'll know Amber Nova as a pro wrestler, probably best known for her work with Impact Wrestling in the mid-2010s. She's currently working in Florida's independent circuit, and Amber's near-death story involves the other thing that she's known for, muscle cars.
Okay. Well, I have been skydiving, and that feels about the same.
Yes.
I got my life is literally in this guy's hands, strapped to my back with the parachute. So
yeah, totally.
Very scary, but exciting. Yes. So let's see. I was driving. I was making a turn out into the highway in my new Nova. And I have this wooden cross that hangs from my rearview mirror that I've had since I went to Christian camp when I was like 17 with my sisters. It was a nice Camp St. Christopher church out of like Charleston, South Carolina area. I used to go to youth group, and I really enjoyed it when I was younger. So I have this wooden cross that hangs from my rearview mirror, and I turn out onto like, I don't know, I think it's 3 lanes, 2 lanes traffic, and I got room, I'm good. Well, as I turn, the cross that's hanging on my rearview mirror swings, hooks into my steering wheel, yanks the steering wheel out of my hand. I could not pull it back because the cross is hooked to the rear view, hanging up on it, and the wooden cross is stuck in there. And it jerks the wheel right out of my hand. And I couldn't turn it back, so it's hooking it this way.
Holy shit.
Yeah. And I hit a curb. I went off on a curb a little bit. It messed up the trim ring on the tire. No big deal. I just got a new one. Tire was fine. But my dad's like, damn it, what you hitting curbs for? And I was like, it wasn't my fault. Technically, I think it might have been Jesus' fault. I don't know.
Jesus took the wheel.
I should knock on wood for that one. That's not good. I should not joke and play. But yeah, that was scary. I wouldn't say like total near death, but I was more so scared. Like, I don't want to mess up my car.
Yeah.
Not the car.
Isn't that crazy? Yanks the steering wheel out of my hand. Her cross necklace almost gets her killed. From a pro wrestler to a retired MMA champion, Jon Fitch, starting wrestling at 9 years old, was on Purdue University's wrestling team, started pro fighting in 2002. That lasted almost 20 years. Since he's retired, he's focused on, of course, raising his kids, his 2 boys, Mason and Atlas. He started the Fitch Smash LLC, one-on-one consultation and coaching. And when Jon was a guest, he dropped a couple near-death stories.
Oh man, what do I have? It's the one that I remember the most was being a what was that? Oh, well, yeah, okay. I'll have 2. I have one. One was when I was a little kid. Okay, and we were screwing around. I was playing, me and my brother goofing around, and I got into this box, and my brother, as a joke, got his bow and arrow and shot a stick at the box. Went right through the box. He's like, "Oh Jesus!" He's like, he didn't think it would go through the box, and it's like, if I would have been like 6 inches in front, it would have done some damage. Yeah, so that was probably one of the actual most near death experiences. But one that was kind of like that, I was thinking this might be it, was the first time I fought in Mexico, right? I had just started fighting. This was like my 4th fight, my 2nd professional fight, right? I went down, me and Brian Ebersol found this promoter, and we flew down to like San Antonio, and then we had to cross the border and drive all the way down to Monterey, right? Well, we got split in different cars, and I got put with 2 or 3 people who I'd never met before, who they barely spoke English. And I drove across the border with them, and I had a 3-hour ride or whatever it was to get to Monterey. And we're just driving on this like little road, and they're passing semis on the right side in the dirt and stuff. And I'm just like, where am I going? Like, is this it? Is this like, has the cartel got me? I was like, what is happening? Like, I had no idea what was happening until we got to the hotel, and I finally see somebody I recognize. I was like, oh my God. I was like, that's wild. Like, what do you think? They're like, what do you think about Mexico? What do you think it's going to be like? I was like, I don't know. I was like, I hope they're not stabby down here. So I'm really poor. I have no money, no family to come and get me either.
Oh my God. Yeah, dude. I think the arrow, the shooting the stick at the start there was like, yeah, I'll be pretty close.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
And this
never
one,
forget that.
no shit. My brother.
I'll never forget that. It's locked in my head.
You remember those lawn darts when we were little kids?
Oh yeah, we played with those a lot.
And my brother chucked one up in the air.
And we used to play this game where you take a screwdriver and you throw it near the other person's foot, right? And then they have to spread their feet a little bit further to the next place where you throw the screwdriver until one day my mom got hit in the foot, And then that game stopped.
They're passing semis on the right side in the dirt. Why doesn't it surprise me that Jon Fitch has multiple stories to share? So we'll take you from a retired MMA champ to a center back for your Vancouver Whitecaps, Brendan McDonough. Intelligent, aggressive, selected 35th overall by the Whitecaps in 2019. And his near-death story is absolutely nuts.
When I was in 6th grade, I got hit in the face with a golf club by a kid named Chris O'Grady.
What?
We were playing mini golf, and he swung and he whiffed on the ball, and he smacked me in the face. And I had this massive bruise. And, like, I guess it was an inch away from the temple, and it could have been, like, fatal to me, the temple, they were saying. I was like, oh, my gosh.
So, like, how messed up did you get from that? Like, just crazy shiner, and, like, you look like a raccoon, probably.
The right side of my face was black and blue, and then it turned into this gross green.
Wow.
And that was like 2 days before the beginning of 6th grade or grade 6, so not the start I wanted.
Not really, yeah. Wow.
No.
Toddcast Podcast sporting guest visits are powered by Sacred Meds, Canada's best online dispensary for cannabis, psilocybin, and psychedelics. Shop now at sacredmeds.co.
Make sure you slam the front door, yeah. Pour all my liquor on the kitchen floor. Throw my clothes all over the front lawn. Do what you gotta do to do me wrong. If you still got a heart, get to tearing mine apart. 'Cause I'll never get over it if you don't leave a mark. Your little mercy. If you're gonna hurt me, come on, just leave me a wreck. Don't leave me anything less. The worst of you might save me. Show a little mercy. Show a little mercy. You might save my life if you ruin it. Out of all the hurt, you know, I think hope is the cruelest. Right now, goodbye just don't quite feel right. Come on, baby, change my mind. Show a little mercy. If you're gonna hurt me, come on, just leave me a wreck. Don't leave me anything less. The worst of you might save me. Show a little mercy. Show a little mercy. Alright, I said mercy, man. If you still got a heart, get to tearing mine apart. 'Cause I'll never get over it if you don't leave a mark. Give me all you got, don't need any second thoughts. I'll never get over it if you don't give a spark. Show a little mercy. If you're gonna hurt me, come on, just leave me a wreck. Don't leave me anything less. The worst of you might save me. Show a little mercy. Show a little mercy. Come on and show a little mercy. Show a little mercy. Oh, I said mercy. I can't say it again.
And now, stop me if you've heard this before on the Toddcast Podcast.
Remember how amazing Much Music was back in the day when they actually played music videos before the internet, no iPhones with everything at your fingertips? It was truly a different time. And one of their hosts, Erica M., was one of my favorites. Truly, all of the hosts were unique and fun, and they helped me down that broadcast path. So to get Erica on as a guest of the podcast, certainly a highlight of my time podcasting. She's had an incredible run all around, beyond much. You've seen her hosting or appearing in shows like Yummy Mummy on Life Network and Discovery Health in the US, Pop Stars, The One on Global, Real Life with Erica M, Power Play on Discovery Channel Canada, The Company, Nestle Baby and You, and The Science from A to M. Erica's written songs for big artists as well. Check this out, like Van Morrison, Tim Thorney, Cassandra Vassic. She's won 3 Canadian Country Music Awards and 3 SOCAN Awards. It's impressive, right? And stop me if you've heard this before. Erica talked about interviewing the late, great Nirvana frontman, Kurt Cobain.
I had no idea at the time that would be the interview that has kind of defined my career. And what's interesting is that it didn't define my career at the time. At the time, it was just like, yeah, it was a pretty cool interview.
Yeah.
But when it was posted on YouTube about 5 years ago, outside of Much Music, where anybody could see it, and this also long after the death of Kurt Cobain, it kind of reemerged from the vaults of Much Music. And listening to him speaking today with the insights that we have, knowing that he killed himself a few months later, the conversation takes on additional depth, I guess. It was very strategic. I did very strategically approach it in a different way. When he walked, first of all, it was a junket. So if you're not in the industry, you may not know what that term means, but essentially a junket is when a record company or a movie company invites a whole bunch of media to congregate in one area. Usually it's a hotel, and you're given a hotel room, and the star goes from room to room, or the star sits there and the media goes in and out of that room and has a short period of time. So we were the Canadian contingent to interview him. I wasn't a big fan, by the way, of them. I liked them, but I wasn't a rabid fan or anything like that. And I was very worried because I had heard that he's very anti-media, because he's sort of anti-authority, right? Like he's an underground dude, and we come in, hi, how are you? Hey, Kurt, was wondering, tell me about the first cut on the album, bullshit. So my strategy was different. When he walked in, I said to him, hey, I'm Erica. Do you want to do the interview in the bed or on the back balcony? And he was like, what? And I remember his face looking kind of uncomfortable because I was asking him to jump into bed with him with a camera. And he said, well, I'll do it on the back. And I was hoping that he would do it on the back anyway. But so we did it on the balcony. So that scene now, you could, when you've seen it, you see Seattle behind us. And I wanted to talk to him like a human being. And I figure if you talk to someone like a human being, they'll drop their guard and talk to you like a human being. So if you listen to my language, it's very colloquial. I'm kind of goofy, very, not lowbrow, but very understated and not professional on purpose. And my strategy worked. I disarmed him and we had a real conversation. And I listened while he was talking. He saw my face reacting to what he was saying. And so he was like, hey, this girl actually is interesting and interested. And so he got to actually talk about things that are important to him. Mm-hmm. And it was, looking back on it, it turned out really well. It was very special. I love interviewing. Wish I could do it all the time.
Stop Me If You've Heard This Before on the Toddcast podcast is powered by the HomeDwell Group. Buying a house? Selling your home? Contact Kyle at homedwell.ca today.
Red Truck Beer. You never forget your first truck. Official beer of the Toddcast podcast.
If someone makes a decision to go to war, they use propaganda, they'll use a false flag, they'll use misinformation. That's werewolf shit, right? That is werewolf. You know what? That is werewolf shit.
Wolves, the blood-driven beasts, they smile through their teeth. The power unleashed, they will hunt you. Prey, they lurk in the dark, prowl in the day, devouring trust in their ways. So run, let the wolves chase, the owl invade. Menacing lines on the weaponry choose. Which wolf will you feed? The fear that misleads, or a hope for a new way? Werewolves. They take innocent hearts, read their demise. Silver-tongued devils disguise, ignored, promising change, but kept in our cage. All they wish to is bury you, bury you. Truth is what we all seek. Stop this rhetoric, speak, and then clapping from claws of corruption. Seek, what wolf will you feed? The fear that it needs, or a hope for a new day. Follow your heart, it knows the way. Don't give up, the ways begin. Werewolves in suits and the silver grin. Under the bay you move, find the shadows of our salvation. Day breaks, the hands of night, and monsters that tyrannize. Werewolves. Wolves, the blood-driven beasts, they smile through their teeth. The power unleashed, they will hunt you. Prey, they lurk in the dark, prowl in the day, devouring trust in their way. They take innocent hearts, will meet their demise. Silver-tongued devils disguised, ignored, promising change, but kept in their cage. All they wish to is bury you, bury you. Sometimes monsters are real. Follow your heart, it knows the way. Don't give up, now it's begin. Werewolves and souls of the silver grin. Under the bay you move, find the shadows of our salvation. Day breaks, the hands of night, and monsters that tyrannize.
You get the feeling that your ass is getting kicked at our next live show. The band is called Fear the Possessed, and a big song for those guys. It's called Werewolves. They are, as mentioned, part of the night next month on Friday, May 23, Blue Light Studio with Southern Death Threat, the original lineup, Fear the Possessed, Lonely Funeral, and maybe Noise Therapy, or at least that's what I'm hearing is going to happen. It's volume 38. It is damn near sold out. Grab a ticket now. Get in. This night will rule through Eventbrite.ca. You heard Kyle McKerney. That was his awesome song called Mercy. And Kyle is at the Fox Cabaret on May 2nd with special guest Antonio LaRussa. It's just $30 in advance. 19 plus, of course. Fox Cabaret is 19 plus. 35 bones if you wait for the door. Doors are at 7 o'clock. And Kyle's music, by the way, is what you hear at the beginning of this podcast, at the end of this podcast. That huge riff, the dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. That's Kyle. Years back when we launched the podcast in 2015, I was like, dude, can I use some of your music? And he was like, I would be honored, man. Done. He's a good buddy, a killer musician. Again, if you can make it out May 2nd, Fox Cabaret, believe me, Kyle will blow your mind. Okay, so our final guests of this episode 362 are entertainment guests, as always, powered by Thrive Management, more longtime friends of the podcast. I've known Sasha, the owner, it's got to be, close to 2 decades, maybe even more. She would come on CFox from time to time and co-host the afternoon show with me. If I was going to be on location somewhere, maybe a bar in Kits or whatever, she would pop by, hang out, shoot the shit. Straight up. She was a Vancouver influencer before the term even existed. So yeah, Sasha runs this event staffing agency here in Canada, talking models, brand ambassadors, operations, sales, TV, film, trade shows, you name it. They work in major cities across the country. Find out how Sasha can blow up your next event through thrivemanagement.ca. So we recently started doing some social media collaborations with Mandy Stans. Maybe you've seen them on Instagram. Mandy was a guest in late last year. She's known for being a generation expert, from music to pop culture to common experiences that we all feel as Gen Xers. If you're over 40, chances are you'll love what she is all about online. Super personable, super positive. So listen to what Mandy had to say about near-death stories.
So many, like growing up in the 80s, as we all did, with parents who were, I don't know where they were, and they didn't know where I was. And
sure.
So you
just be home when the street lights come on.
Yeah, exactly. And so we just did so many things as a kid that I couldn't even picture letting my own kids do today. Right? My kids are grown now; they're 18 and 21. But even when they were kids, there's no way I would have let my kids just out the door and not checked in.
No, same.
The world has changed since I was a kid, but yeah, we did tons of things. Playing on thin ice in the winter, people falling through the ice, crazy wipeouts on your bike, crazy driving of motorized vehicles where they shouldn't go, even in cars on roads going so fast that you're like flying through the air. It's just, you know what? I can't believe that more people aren't dead.
I know, right? Like, I think that it's like, it felt like once we got to like 18, 19, it's like, okay, I think I'll probably live for a while now.
You made it. Yeah. Just lots of stories like that. One in particular, I can't really think of, but just, I'm sure we have the same kind of experiences all as Gen X kids. Yeah. Like I said, who just grew up doing whatever they want, using the stove when you're 5 years old, just, having access to all of these things. I remember my friends and I, when we were about 12 years old, would go home to one girlfriend's house for lunch, and we would do stuff like take a lighter and spray hairspray on it to make this flamethrower just in the house at lunchtime, just stuff like that. Yeah. Like, how is there no fire? I don't know.
Totally. Like, how'd you not burn the house down?
Well, exactly. Like, those are just little stories here and there, but yeah, we survived though.
Totally right. I can't believe more people aren't dead, to be honest. I've always said that if you can make it past 18, 19, 20 years old, chances are you'll live a nice, long life. So from a generation expert to an actor that you'll know from, among other things, The Walking Dead, Markice Moore played Andrew on that show. He's a rapper, a reality TV star in MTV's From G's to Gents. He was Ryan Payne in Tyler Perry's The Paynes. And Markice had some thoughts on near-death experiences.
I've had a highly documented near-death experience. So, I have.
What's the Cole's notes of it? What happened?
Well, most of the stuff is already online, TMZ, if you want to look it up. But I went through a depression. And it took me to an extreme place of darkness. I'm very glad that I bounced back from. But yeah, I have had a near-death experience. I've had an experience where my heart stopped for a day. All I can tell you is that I saw no light.
Wow. So everything's all good now, though?
Yeah, everything's fine, man. I think just in life we go through stages when we're trying to find our way. And it's just learning how to balance out everything that life throws at you. And I'm very vocal about that because I want to be able to help people through my experiences. So suicide awareness is something that I'm an advocate for also. and prevention as well.
I mean, that's some real talk. I went through a depression. It took me to an extreme place of darkness. Great to see that Markice made it through to the other side. And now you'll go from an actor to an author, producer, and the host of the Record Store Day podcast, Paul Myers. Paul wrote about Kids in the Hall. Todd Rundgren is the co-editor of Go All the Way and Go Further. He's also Mike Myers' brother, and he has a super scary near-death story.
It's scary. Do you want to hear a scary story?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I went to South Africa with my wife in what year was that? 2017. And I heard you don't want to go out at night in Cape Town. And I heard that there's a lot of carjacking. I mean, they have a real inequity of poverty there, and a lot of people living in encampments, and they don't have the ghost of apartheid is everywhere. So there is unfortunately very violent crime at night. We were on our way to go somewhere else to go on a safari thing, so we weren't going to stay in long. But during the broad daylight, we're walking through a park, and I'm carrying my Sony camera, and some guy comes up to me with a box cutter and says, "Give me your camera."
Like an X-Acto knife box cutter.
Yeah. And my wife was like, well, "Who are you talking to?" And I said, "I'm not talking. He's swinging a knife at me." And my camera had a strap on it, and I didn't know how to I was going to give it to him, but I didn't understand the question. So I was hesitant. So I stepped back, and he saw that as me resisting him. I was like really trying to dodge him and yelling to my wife, get some help. And I also told her to stand back because I didn't want him, if he cut me, I didn't want him to cut her too. So it was one of those things like, I'll take this one. And so she's swinging at me. And then for some reason, I step back and he decides to trip me and then swings at my leg and cuts my knee open. And at this point, some security guards came and some park guards, and they were running towards him. He grabs my wife's cell phone because she basically handed it to him to say, take something and go, and to get him to stop cutting me. And so and a whole bunch of really good things happened right after that, which was a person who had just bought an ice cream cone and had 3 clean napkins handed them to me, and they had a bottle of water so I could rinse the area off. And I held it down, and then we were lucky we had insurance, and we had a nice ambulance ride, and I had 6 stitches, and and I had but there was a moment where he was swinging towards my face before he tripped me that I thought, he's going to kill me. And when I saw myself bleeding on the ground, and I thought, this is where it could have ended. Like that, I have to say, not to over dramatize it, but I thought to myself, this might have been my wife going home and saying, "Yeah, my husband got stabbed to death in Cape Town. Weird, huh?" And we both, of course, you do all that thing of like, it didn't happen, so we're grateful and we're lucky, and let's just, maybe my life is good, and I'm protected or something. But all of those things, it's the closest I've had to a moment of going, "Holy cow!" And I don't even have any ill will towards South Africa for this. I blame the lingering ghost of apartheid for creating these desperate conditions, but I'm not. That's not to say I don't let the guy off the guy who stabbed me is a dick. Okay, but like, totally. But I'm sorry. I'm sorry that he felt desperate enough to stab me. But I also think
right,
maybe run for office. I don't know. I mean, dude, that guy.
You can get one of those styles of people in any city, in any part of the world.
Yeah, and he was really high on something too. So it was like, I could see it. Like he had that. I once almost got mugged in Toronto once by a guy with like completely red eyes, and I'm pretty sure angel dust was involved. So I don't know.
Talkcast Podcast entertainment guest visits are powered by Thrive Management, an event staffing agency that provides staffing services across Calgary, Edmonton, Toronto, Ottawa, and all of BC. Find out more at thrivemanagement.ca.
without question, one of the best Vancouver bands of the last little while. They are called Cloudsick, and a cool song for those guys called In Between. Love them. One of my favorite of the last handful of years, for sure. Great live band, too. They played for us. But next month, on Thursday, May 15th, Thursday night, really, they're playing Green Auto in East Vancouver. Precursor, Idiofame, Folded Hand, and Cloudsick for just $20. That's pretty good. $25 if you wait for the door. A very big show, a killer show, if you will. Looking forward to next week. Actress Kayla Zander is a guest, and here she talks about Vancouver's film industry.
Part of the reason I haven't been able to leave Vancouver is for any decent length of time is because, yeah, the film industry here is just so amazing. It's such a good place to get a start. I was on The 100, which shot here in Vancouver. Right. I was on, second season of The Recruit shot in Vancouver. First season we did in Montreal.
Of course,
that was amazing.
People are going to know you from that show, and I want to dig in a little bit into that show and that role, in specifically. But yeah, to the Vancouver, like, is it just because of the city, do you think? Or like, could there be another Hollywood North? Like, could it be Winnipeg? Could it be, you know what I mean?
Yeah, Vancouver has this unique thing where you can kind of, especially BC, you can drive, you can be in these sort of desert arid regions, you can go and have the beach, you can have all of these incredible rainforest areas, you can have cities, you have Gastown, it looks like, it can be old timey. I think Vancouver has a lot to
offer.
Yeah, it has a lot to offer.
Yeah. And so, go ahead.
But they're I know that they're making they're building is it Netflix? They're building a new giant studio on the island.
Yeah.
Vancouver Island. So yeah, things are getting, believe it or not, even more globalized.
Joining Kayla Zander next week is Thor singer John Mickle Thor and IFBB Pro national champ Alicia Bell, who's making her second appearance. Of course, a big thanks to this week's guests as well, highlighting their visits, often years after their appearances. Lots of great near-death stories this week. We all have them, and I hope you enjoyed this week's podcast. So let's do it. Let's wrap up episode 362. Once again, my name is Todd Hancock. Thank you so much for listening, for being there. If you like what you heard, please do tell your friends about it. It's a big way of how we grow. We are part of the Realm.fm network. You can subscribe to us on iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, Apple Podcast, YouTube, of course, for all of the videos that we do. Comment and rate the podcast. That's a big thing with search engines. It helps us get to where we need to get to. Of course, Toddcast podcast is the search. Huge thanks to all of our wonderful sponsors. You can find links to all sponsor websites at toddhancock.ca. The newly revamped, by the way, it's only been a few months, but check it out on your phone. It is now mobile friendly. It wasn't before. We were still getting tons of visits before, but now it's like, oh my God, it's so awesome. If you want to sponsor the podcast, you can for as little as $10 a day. Contact info is at the homepage. And if you help us find a sponsor, as always, we will give you a commission. Do you know any other podcasts doing that? Just throwing it out there. Anybody? Joe Rogan? Are you doing that, bro? Okay, till next time, don't be an asshole. Nobody wants to be around that, right? Have fun, play hard, and most of all, believe in yourself.
You've been listening to the Toddcast podcast, powered by Citywide Mortgage Services, dedicated to helping you find the best mortgage rates. Available 7 days a week at citywidemortgage.ca.
I'm Amy Nicholson, the film critic for the LA Times.
And I'm Paul Scheer, an actor, writer, and director. You might know me from The League, Veep, or my non-eligible for Academy Award role in Twisters.
We love movies, and we come at them from different perspectives.
Yeah, like Amy thinks that, Joe Pesci was miscast in Goodfellas, and I don't.
He's too old. Let's not forget that Paul thinks that Dune 2 is overrated.
It is.
Anyway, despite this, we come together to host Unspooled, a podcast where we talk about good movies, critical hits,
fan favorites, must-sees, and in case you missed them.
We're talking Parasite to Home Alone.
From Grease to The Dark Knight.
We've done deep dives on popcorn flicks. We've talked about why Independence Day deserves a second look.
And we've talked about horror movies, some that you've never even heard of, like Ganja and Hess.
So if you love movies like we do, come along on our cinematic adventure.
Listen to Unspooled wherever you get your podcasts.
And don't forget to hit the follow button.
Can you actually change your personality if you want to? How does peer pressure work, and why is it so powerful? Should you ever really trust your gut when you make a big decision? These are just a few of the topics we've recently covered on my podcast, Something You Should Know. I'm the host, Mike Carruthers, and each episode of Something You Should Know covers multiple topics that are likely relevant to you. You'll discover things you can use in your life today, right now, like how to have a great conversation, how to be more courageous, the anatomy of the perfect apology, and much, much more. To date, there are over 1,000 episodes of Something You Should Know, and we've gotten over 4,000 mostly 5-star reviews. I invite you to check out Something You Should Know. Look for the bright yellow light bulb on the blue background. Something You Should Know, wherever you listen to podcasts.
Have you ever heard about the 19th century French actress with so many lovers that they formed a lovers' union? Or what about the Aboriginal Australian bandit who faked going into labor just to escape the police, which she did escape from them. It was a great plan. How about the French queen who murdered her rival with poison gloves? I'm Ann Foster, host of the feminist women's history comedy podcast, Vulgar History. Every week I share the saga of a woman from history whose story you probably didn't already know, and you will never forget after you hear it. Sometimes we re-examine well-known people like Cleopatra or Pocahontas, sharing the truth behind their legends. Sometimes we look at the scandalous women you'll never find in a history textbook. Listen to Vulgar History wherever you get podcasts. And if you're curious, the people I was talking about before, the Australian woman is named Marianne Bugg, and the French actress was named Rochelle, no last name, just Rochelle. And the queen who poisoned her rival is Catherine de' Medici. I have episodes about all of them.